I am 91 years old, and I live alone. I don't say that as a badge of honor or something to brag about. I say it because 10 years ago, no one would have bet on this being possible. My current doctor says my test results look like those of a 60-year-old man. The previous one, who has since retired, was more honest. He looked me straight in the eye and asked when I had decided not to give up. That question stuck with me, because the truth is, it wasn't a heroic decision or some inspiring moment. It was an ordinary morning when I realized that if I kept waking up the way I was waking up, I would eventually need someone else to tie my shoes, and I wasn't born for that. I've lived long enough to watch strong friends fade quickly, not because of a major illness, but because of small daily concessions. They slept poorly, rushed their mornings, treated their bodies like old furniture. I almost became one of them. There was one winter when it took me 10 minutes just to stand up, my knees shaking and my back stiff as a damp beam. My daughter started talking about assisted living, about help, about just in case. I nodded, but inside something pushed back. I didn't want more years. I wanted to stay in charge of my days. What no one tells you is that old age doesn't take your life all at once. It takes it in the morning, in the first hour after you open your eyes. That's where it's decided whether the day belongs to you or to your body. I learned this late, but I learned it well. I started observing my mornings as if they were an experiment. I removed what weakened me and added what gave me control back. I failed many times. It hurt. I got frustrated, but every adjustment added up. Today, I still live in my own house. I make my own breakfast. I walk without a cane, and I sleep peacefully, not because I'm lucky and not because I inherited good genes. My parents died young. I didn't have that advantage. I had to build it, and I did it with 7 morning habits that I repeat every single day without negotiating with myself. They're what allow me to live alone and happy at 91. They're not comfortable, they're not popular, but they work. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share them with you, not as theory, but as the system that held me up when my body started asking for surrender. The first habit doesn't begin when I put my feet on the floor. It begins before I move a single muscle. I learned this after many years of waking up startled, with my heart racing and my head full of noise. I opened my eyes and was already thinking about bills, aches, news, everything that could go wrong. I didn't realize it, but every morning I was declaring a small war on my own body. In my 70s, that left me exhausted. In my 80s, it almost broke me. Now when I wake up, I don't get up. I don't even sit up. I stay lying there and let my body finish arriving. I breathe slowly, deeply, without forcing anything. Air in through the nose, out through the mouth, as if I have no rush to exist. At first I thought it was a waste of time. Later I understood it was exactly the opposite. That moment is the bridge between being alive and being conscious. If you cross it running, you fall. For years I watched other men my age open their eyes and jump out of bed as if they were still 30. Then they complained about anxiety, high blood pressure, constant fatigue. The body doesn't age well with sudden shocks. It needs transition. I give it those minutes because I know how hard it is to get them back later. That initial calm keeps my pulse low, my mind clear, and prevents the day from starting crooked. It's not elegant meditation or modern spirituality. It's basic respect for an old body that still wants to respond. The second habit comes when I finally sit up. I don't stand up all at once. I sit on the edge of the bed and wait. It seems insignificant, but it isn't. At my age, getting up too fast is an invitation to fall. I've seen too many friends lose their independence because of a 5-second dizzy spell. One of them, a strong man who had worked in the fields his entire life, jumped up to answer the phone. He fell. He never went back home. That image stayed with me. While I'm sitting, I move my feet, flex my ankles, gently wake up my legs. I let the blood return to where it needs to be. I feel the weight of my body, gravity doing its job. When I stand up, I do it steady, without rushing, without wobbling. There's no heroism in standing up fast. There's intelligence in standing up well. These first two habits aren't visible from the outside, but they're what keep me standing from the inside. Without them, nothing that comes after would work. The third habit was born from pain. Not sharp pain, but that dull ache that settles into your back and follows you all day like a bad shadow. For a while I blamed the mattress, then my age, then bad luck, until I understood something uncomfortable. The problem wasn't how I slept, but how I started using my body the moment I woke up. An old man's spine doesn't switch on instantly. If you force it, it will make you pay. While you sleep, the back compresses. The discs lose fluid and slowly flatten over hours. In the morning, you're more fragile than you think. I used to get up and immediately bend, stretch, try to loosen up. All I was doing was making everything worse. It was a physical therapist, younger than me but far wiser, who told me to give my spine time to return to its place. No exercises, no stretches, time. Now, after sitting and standing calmly, I lie back down for a few minutes with my knees raised, taking weight off my lower back. I do nothing, and that's the point. In that stillness, the back rehydrates, the discs regain space, the stiffness fades on its own. 7 minutes that save me hours of pain. I know this because I stopped doing it once, thinking I was better. By the third morning, I could barely walk straight. I went back to the habit, and my body responded, as it always does, grateful. The fourth habit is a direct result of understanding this. At my age, balance is more valuable than strength. I'm no longer interested in lifting weight or proving anything. I'm interested in not falling. Every morning, I train balance in a simple, almost invisible way. When I take my first steps, I walk slowly and deliberately, feeling the contact with the ground. I don't shuffle my feet. I don't look at a phone. I don't rush. I'm present. I've seen too many falls begin with distraction. A neighbor of mine, a brilliant, independent woman, fell in her kitchen because she was in a hurry. Broken hip, the end of the life she knew. When I visited her in the facility, she told me she would give anything to walk slowly again. I listened, held her hand, and said nothing. Because the lesson came too late for her, but not for me. These habits don't make you feel young. They keep you intact. And at 91, that's worth more than any promise of youth. The fifth habit is one of those no one talks about because it happens in the least elegant place in the house. And yet that's where many men begin to lose their dignity without even realizing it. For years I sat poorly, hunched over in a rush, as if the body could tolerate anything. Over time I understood that posture isn't an aesthetic detail, it's a signal you send to your organs. When you bend forward, you compress them, and when you compress them every day, something eventually fails. Now I sit upright, with my back aligned, without leaning forward. At first it's uncomfortable because it forces awareness. But that small adjustment protects the bladder, avoids unnecessary pressure, and preserves the control that so many lose with age. I've seen men in their 70s who no longer dare leave the house for fear of not making it to the bathroom. I don't live with that fear, and it's not luck. It's consistency in what no one sees. The sixth habit comes right after and has to do with waking up what most people ignore, the digestive system. Many people get up and immediately load themselves with coffee or food, as if the body were a machine that starts on its own. It doesn't work that way, especially at this age. The organs need notice. They need preparation. I learned this late after years of bloating, acid reflux, and discomfort that doctors treated with pills. Every morning I spend a few minutes stimulating my abdomen with my hands, slowly and firmly. It's not a mystical ritual or a new trend. It's a direct way of telling the body the day has begun. Since I started doing this, digestion stopped being a problem. I quit medications I thought I would take for life. A friend of mine, stubborn as they come, laughed when I told him. Today he takes more pills than ever and says it's normal. I say it's avoidable. These habits don't show from the outside. No one congratulates me for how I feel or for sitting up straight, but they're what support everything else. At 91, there's no room for repeated mistakes. The body doesn't forgive constant neglect. That's why I take care of every morning gesture, because that's where it's decided whether the day will be mine or something I just have to endure. The seventh habit is the one that has earned me the most strange looks in the neighborhood. After waking the body from the inside, caring for my back and putting everything in its place, I do something that goes against what most older people try to avoid at all costs. I expose myself to the cold, not out of bravery or to prove anything, but because I understood that constant comfort weakens you. The body needs small challenges so it doesn't shut down. Every morning, I open the door and step outside for a few minutes into the cold air, barefoot, with my feet touching the ground. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. At first it was hard. The body resists, the mind looks for excuses. But over time something changes. Circulation improves, breathing becomes deeper, and the mind sharpens. I can't remember the last time I was sick. Not because I'm invincible, but because I trained my body to adapt instead of protecting it from everything. I've known many men who did the opposite. Houses always overheated, layers and layers of clothing, fear of the slightest change in temperature. They lived with colds, fatigue, fragility. One of them, an old friend, used to say the cold would kill him. What ended up killing him was inactivity and fear. An old body doesn't need to be coddled like a child. It needs to be treated with firmness and respect. This habit isn't only physical, it's mental. Every morning, by facing that brief discomfort, I remind myself that I'm still in charge, that I can still choose to do something difficult even when I don't feel like it. That feeling stays with me the rest of the day. I don't complain about trivial things. I don't collapse over minor discomforts. Discipline isn't built through grand gestures, but through small decisions repeated when no one is watching. And at my age, that inner strength is just as important as any muscle. The final habit doesn't require strength, endurance, or physical courage. It requires something many people lose before their health: self-respect. After coming back into the house, when my body is fully awake and my mind is clear, I make the bed. Always. No exceptions. Not because anyone else is going to see it, but because I am. That simple act draws the line between letting yourself go and standing your ground. I've been inside the homes of older people where disorder is no longer neglect, it's resignation. Unmade beds, objects scattered everywhere, rooms that feel heavy. When you talk to them, they say it doesn't matter anymore. That's where the end begins. External chaos doesn't appear on its own. It's the reflection of a mind tired of holding itself together. I refuse that. As long as I can pull a sheet tight, I can impose order. And as long as there is order, there is dignity. Making the bed isn't the goal. It's the message. It tells my brain that the day has started with a task completed, that I don't improvise my life, that I don't let myself drift. From there, everything else becomes easier. I eat better, I move better, I think better. Discipline doesn't come from motivation, it comes from the standard you set for yourself. And that standard is reinforced every morning with small actions, repeated, almost boring. I knew a man a bit younger than me, brilliant and cultured, but abandoned on the inside. He lived surrounded by things with no place. He complained about anxiety, fatigue, confusion. I told him to start with just one thing, his bed. He laughed, said it was silly. Today he lives with assistance, not because making the bed would have saved him, but because he never understood what it represented. I did in time. That's why I'm still here, alone, clear-minded, and at peace with my mornings. When I look back, I don't remember the big days or extraordinary moments. I remember the mornings, the quiet ones, the uncomfortable ones, the repeated ones. That's where everything was decided. While others waited for motivation, I leaned on structure. While others trusted luck or doctors, I trusted simple, demanding, consistent habits. I didn't do anything spectacular. I did what was necessary every day. These 7 habits didn't make me immortal or promise me a perfect old age. They gave me something better: control. Control over my body, my mind, and my environment. Because of that, I still live alone. I still decide my schedule. I still walk without asking permission. I've seen younger people lose all of that by neglecting their mornings. Age wasn't the cause. Repeated negligence was. Many people believe that after a certain point it's too late. I believe that too. I was wrong. The body responds as long as you're willing to treat it with firmness and respect. It doesn't need luxury. It needs consistency. It doesn't need miracles. It needs patterns. Every habit I've shared prepares the next one. Remove one, and everything weakens. Keep them, and the system holds. I don't know how many years I have left. No one does. But I do know how I'll wake up tomorrow. Calm, intentional, and disciplined, because that's what allowed me to get here. If you're listening to this and you can still decide how your days begin, you're still on time. Old age isn't defined by the number of years, but by how many mornings you let pass without taking care of yourself. I chose not to, and so far, my body has returned the favor.